COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Jai Hind, my dear children. I hope you all are safe at home. Now, your 9th standard classes are over and I welcome you all to the 10th standard biology online class. Biology is a very interesting subject because biology means study of living organisms. By studying it, we can learn about different activities that takes place inside our body and also how the other living organisms like plants and other animals and microorganisms around us maintain their life in this biosphere. But for making it interesting, what you want to do? You should watch the videos carefully with utmost attention so that you can understand the content clearly. And after watching the videos, please read the textbook carefully and make a note of important points in the textbook, which will be easy for you to prepare the notes. By doing this, you can study the topics very well and can score good marks. During your studies, if you have any doubt, you can contact your concerned teachers personally and clarify the doubts. See, your science textbook includes all the physics, chemistry and biology contents. Altogether, there are 16 chapters in your science textbook. Of these, the chapters which we have to study in biology are Chapter 6, Life Processes, Chapter 7, Control and Coordination, Chapter 8, How do organisms reproduce, Chapter 9, Heredity and Evolution, Chapter 15, Our Environment, and Chapter 16, Management of Natural Resources. Today, in this video, we can discuss about the first chapter in biology, that is life processes. By hearing this term life process, so many questions may arise in your mind, like what is life processes, what is life, where does this life exist, etc., etc., right? So we can learn about the life and the life processes.
Now, what do you mean by life processes? Life means being alive and processes means activities. So, we can say that life processes are the activities which keeps anything alive.
So in this chapter, we can study about different activities that helps an organism for being alive.
Life is found in living things. The things that have life we call it as living things and that do not have life we call it as non-living things, right? You have been studying about living things and non-living things since the lower classes itself. For example, if we take a rock, which cannot move on by itself. So we call it as non-living things. And if we take a dog which can run, jump, bark, so it shows some movements. Almost all the animals move from place to place. Birds can fly. Even microbes such as amoeba show certain movements. Plants show certain growth movements like seed germination, growth of saplings, increase in the length of the plant, etc. etc. So, we can call this a living things. So, we can consider movement as the first basic characteristics of living things. Other than movements, some other basic characteristics are there based on which we can distinguish living things and non-living things.
Living things perform other characteristics also. Now, we can see some characteristics of living things when compared to non-living things. Living things show movements. They can grow. They can respire. They can reproduce. They need food, air and water for being alive, and they respond to external factors. But even if we show so many movements, we do not show any movements while we are sleeping, isn't it? Then how can we say that we are living while sleeping? All of us know that we all respire or breathe even while we are sleeping, isn't it? We can't be alive without breathing for even few seconds.
Other than breathing, so many other molecular movements also takes place inside our body, which keeps us alive, like synthesis of proteins, transportation of molecules through blood, breaking down of complex food molecules into simpler molecules, and so on. All these metabolic activities takes place in each and every cell in our body, and this keeps each cell alive. So, we can define life processes as the processes or the basic metabolic functions performed by the living organisms to maintain their life.
If we consider a very simple organism like amoeba or paramecium, the single cell has to perform all the functions of the body. But in case of multicellular organisms, they have specialized cells which constitute to form the tissues, and the different tissues constitute to form the organs, and each of these organs perform specific functions. If all these organs and organ systems perform properly, then only we can maintain our life. Now children, what are the different types of life processes? They are movement, reproduction, growth and repair, nutrition, respiration, excretion, and transportation. In order to perform all these life processes, living things need energy. Now, where do we get this energy from? You have already studied in the lower class that we get energy from food, and the entire process of obtaining energy from food is known as nutrition. So, we can define nutrition as the process of intake of nutrients and its utilization by an organism by various biological activities. Now, what happens to the nutrients which is obtained by the body?
You have already studied in 9th standard that mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell because the energy is generated and stored in the mitochondria of each cell. The glucose molecules obtained from the food are broken down in the presence of oxygen, and energy is released inside the mitochondria. And the process of breaking down of food molecules for releasing energy is known as cellular respiration.
The energy is released from nutrients only when it is broken down in the presence of oxygen. So, oxygen is necessary for releasing energy. We get oxygen through breathing. While breathing, exchange of gases takes place. So, respiration is the process that involves two steps, breathing and cellular respiration. In breathing, gaseous exchange takes place. Oxygen is inhaled and carbon dioxide is exhaled. In cellular respiration, breakdown of nutrients takes place in the presence of oxygen to release energy. As each cells in our body needs energy for metabolic activities, oxygen and nutrients are to be carried from where it is obtained to each cells in our body. This is done through blood. So, the process by which substances synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body is carried to other parts of the body is called as transportation. Now, as a result of digestion, respiration and other metabolic activities, so many nitrogenous waste are obtained in our body and it is to be eliminated. The process by which an organism gets rid of excess or toxic nitrogenous waste products obtained as a result of metabolic activities is known as excretion. So, these are the basic things you want to study in this chapter.
We have discussed about the different types of life processes such as nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion that takes place in our body. Now, we can study about each life processes in detail. First, we can start with nutrition. We have already discussed that nutrition is the process of intake of nutrients and its utilization by the body of an organism. There are different types of nutrition. Now, let us study about the different modes of nutrition in different organisms.
How do organisms obtain food? Nutrition in different organisms takes place in different manners based on how complex the organisms are. For example, plants prepare their own food by obtaining some inorganic raw materials from its surroundings. Amoeba intake food with the help of pseudopodia. And in humans, the nutrition involves the intake of organic substances from outside and its digestion. So, accordingly, there are two main modes of nutrition. They are autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Now we can discuss about autotrophic nutrition. Auto means self. So autotrophs means the organisms which prepare their own food. Autotrophic nutrition are of two types. One is photosynthesis, in which light energy is used for preparing food. The other one is chemosynthesis, in which chemical energy is used. Autotrophic nutrition is the process by which plants synthesize their own food by intaking inorganic raw materials from the surroundings. Example, plants, cyanobacteria. Next is heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means others. The process of intake of food that is prepared by the autotrophs or from any other organisms. Example, all animals including humans, amoeba, fungi, etc. Heterotrophic nutrition are of three types. They are saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and holozoic nutrition. Sapro means dead. So saprophytic nutrition is the process in which the organisms depend on dead or decayed organic matter for their food. Example, fungi. Parasitic nutrition. The absorption of nutrients by some organisms living in or outside the body of the other host organism without killing them. Parasites are of two types. Endoparasites, which lives inside the body of host organism. Exoparasites, which lives outside the body of host organism and obtain food. Holo means as a whole. Holozoic nutrition is the process of intake of complex solid organic food and breakdown into simpler forms. Example, amoeba, humans, etc. Rice is a complex food. After intaking this complex food, it is then converted into simpler forms, carbohydrates, for obtaining energy.
So children, I hope you all got an idea about the different life processes that takes place in our body and about the different types of nutrition in different organisms. Now, we can wind up this class with this topic and can learn about the process of nutrition in different organisms in detail in the next video class. Now, all of you read the textbook thoroughly and prepare the notes. Thank you. Have a nice day.